your girl, SJR Sarah Jakes Roberts, and
Pastor Cora in the building.
Listen, we are checking in with the Woman Thou Art Loose blog. First of all, how are you all doing? We miss you so much. We are counting down the days to 2022 when we are in the building together, being loose to grow and change and just shaking off some of the dust that we have collected over the last couple of years. You know, the pandemic has this moniker that has been attached specifically for women during this season, and it's called the She Session, because so many women, obviously we know that many people have experienced job loss, and we've seen so many things happen in the economy, but the She Session in particular is the name that it has been given because women have been the most heavily affected by the pandemic, whether it relates to job loss or having to quit their jobs to take care of their children or change their hours in order to take care of the children. Women have been really hit hard, which brings up this recurring theme that women have had to face over and over again, which is, can I have it all? James Brown said it is a man's world, but then he also said it would be nothing without a woman. Sis, I know that you know that the pandemic and being a woman in general, a woman in ministry, which ministry is a male-dominated field, starting your own business and having partnerships is one of those things that can often feel like, man, I'm balancing everything and trying to make things work. Can I really do all of this? Can I have it all? I'm curious, what do you think? What do you think about the role of womanhood and the idea of balancing multiple roles?
Well, I think that forgive my loud children in the background, quiet on the set, huh? I think that Felicia Rashad said it best on an episode. She said, you can have it all, but not all at the same time. And I think that that is kind of very poignant in just understanding that, yes, we can have it all, but we have to be willing to take it in doses, take it in doses, take it in moments, take it in memories, and being able to really wrap our head around that idea of, yeah, you can have it all, but not all at the same time. What does it look like to have it all?
You know, that is so good, because as you were speaking, I was thinking about, what the problem is with this idea of can I have it all, is that we are not giving definition to what all is, right? So what is all in this season for you, right? So is it having babies and being married and having the career? Is it as a mother? Like, I've had children, I have a husband. What does having it all look like for me now? Because I think all changes as the stages of your life change and your needs develop and your gifts and talents emerge, that having it all shifts and changes as well. And I think that if we are not careful, we will be guilty of wanting someone else's all because we didn't take time to really consider what our all is. So I can say for me, like when I think about having it all for me right now, I think about really showing up in my life with confidence that everything in my life is working to produce the best version of myself. I'm not in a space right now. Of course, I have like career aspirations and I have goals and I've got things that I would like to do in ministry and philanthropically. But to me right now, I just want to show up in every area of my life with confidence, and not confidence based on me losing 20 pounds, or confidence based on my children doing everything the right way, or confidence that my business is always in the black, but confidence that I am equipped to handle whatever decisions are necessary in my world and in my space, because so often I battle inadequacy, I battle insecurities, I battle this idea of, I don't know what I'm doing and I don't know if I'm doing it well. And for me, having it all would be having the confidence to handle all that is under my influence. What do you think having it all for you is?
Well, you know what, sis? I've actually been really, really intentional here in the last few weeks with my mental health. And so I think that having it all really for me is about being able to navigate my mental health, my physical health, my ability to be okay with coping skills, finding different coping skills, and being able to project that to my children as well. Having it all for me is going to be about stability, mental stability, physical stability, emotional stability overall. And I think that it also includes like just learning my kids even the more so. I've been reading different books just on connecting and just high risk children and different things like that. And so having it all is very intentional for me when it comes to just my mental health and stability overall. I think that that is what is going to be what having it all looks like for me at this current time.
Man, I really feel like this is demystifying the notion that having it all is about having titles or having things. That what I hear you saying, and I think what I even hear myself echoing, is having it all means having all of myself. Like, I don't want to be ashamed. I don't want to be insecure. I don't want to be depressed. I don't want to have anxiety. For me, having it all begins with having all of myself, because I will bankrupt myself. Come on, Bible. What does it profit the man to gain the world and lose his soul? I can have all of the titles and all of the things, but if I don't have me, if I don't feel loved, if I don't feel worthy, if I don't feel valuable, then having it all will still feel like bankruptcy because I don't have all of myself. And I think that prioritizing of self, which, you know, as women can be really challenging because there are so many people, whether we're mothers and wives, just being support systems for our friends and our families, incredible aunts and incredible employees and business owners, requires that we live in this mindset of sacrifice constantly. And sacrifice has gain attached to it. And we have to be willing to ask ourselves when signing up for these different levels of sacrifice, like, what am I gaining in exchange for this sacrifice? I'm getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, so I'm sacrificing sleep, but I am gaining healthy children. If we cannot connect the gain with the sacrifice, then we're losing ourselves in the process. I mean, God gave his only begotten son so that whosoever believes in him will not perish, but have everlasting life. There's sacrifice, but there's gain connected to that. And I feel like too many women are sacrificing without gain.
Ooh, that is a powerful statement to just throw the mic down the garbage. Because it's true. And I always lately have been saying, like, we will take people's minimum investment and make it a maximum reality for our lives. And we do the same. Like you said, we will sacrifice our maximum and allow people to say it's our minimum, allow people to say that it's not enough. That there needs to be more. And in a world where you are pouring everything that you've got into life, and like you said, just having all of yourself, having all of your mind, having all of your emotions, and being able to be stable. I think that it is so important that we stop letting people minimize our maximum mantles, if you will. I think that it is important for us to be able to say, yes, my mantle is mighty, my mantle is great, what I'm pouring is great, what I invest is great, and it is okay for me to want people to value that investment as well.
Man, that's so good. I think what you're talking about is only realized through not just self-care, but soul care. So like shameless, or is it shameless? Is this a shameless plug?
No, it's not a shameless plug. It's full of proudness. Proud plug.
a proud plug, I guess, for Woman Evolve. That's one of the things that I talk about is self-care versus soul care, because there have been so many times where I went and got my nails done, I went and got my hair done, and I felt like I took care of my body, but I didn't take care of my soul. And if we don't invest in our soul, and by soul care, I literally mean to check in with your soul. Like, how am I doing? How am I coping? How am I processing? Like yesterday, I realized like I just had a weird emotional day. Like I wasn't happy. I wasn't sad. I just felt I was tired now and
That's what
tired,
it is. Tag.
tired. I didn't have anything to give, but I knew I wasn't functioning at my best. And when I realized I wasn't functioning at my best, I was able to make decisions from that place. And I feel like if we're on autopilot with our lives and not checking in with our soul, then we will overextend ourselves. Because usually I'd be like, I'm gonna make dinner. Like, this is my rhythm, my routine. I'm gonna make dinner. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna lay out the girls' clothes. I'm gonna straighten up before school starts in the morning. And because I knew I was tired, like, I'm gonna order dinner. I'm gonna give Ella a bath early. We're gonna sit down and watch a movie. Like, I could make decisions for my soul from that place of soul care. Do you ever think about, like, and let's be honest, okay, let's be honest. What do you think the beauty in being single is? Like, what are some things that you learned while being single that you're grateful for now that you are married? Like, if I had not experienced this while I was single, then I could not have flourished in my marriage. Like, what are those things?
Woo. I had to date myself for a little bit before I got married. And so I think that had I not experienced the joy of my own company, I would not have flourished in marriage, because there are times, yes, where you have each other all of the time. And there's times where God takes you through a storm and you're not together.
Yeah.
And you are within your own company and kind of by yourself, so to speak. And so for me, I feel like had I never learned how to just enjoy my company, enjoy spending time with myself, taking myself on dates, doing the self-care things and the soul care things, I think that I would not have flourished as well. As, like you said, just kind of emphasizing on the soul care. I did a lot of praying, a lot of self-examination, and I'm very, very big on self-examination. I think it's crucial. And so if I hadn't have done that while I was single, I don't think that I would have flourished, or would be as flourished, if you will, in marriage as I am now. 10 years later down the road, I still enjoy my time. I enjoy my me time. I enjoy taking myself out and really just enjoying who I am as an individual. I think is one of the things that I learned and really embraced in singlehood that helped me to make an effective transition into wife.
Okay, so I'm not going to be able to explain mine very well because, like, it makes sense in my head, but I don't know if it makes sense in real life. So
Maybe
I'm
I
gonna
can help you. I can help.
maybe you can help me. Okay, so I feel like I, when I was single, I had, well, single as in single after divorce. Okay, because that's important, because there were lessons that I learned single
Before.
after a divorce
Yeah.
versus just single before I'd ever married. And what I learned, especially about being single after divorce, is that I should marry someone I want and not someone that I feel like I need. Now let me hear me clear, hear me clear, hear me clear.
I like where you're going.
When I got married the first time, I felt like I needed someone to complete the picture of my life. I was a single mother and I felt like I needed someone to fill that slot. When I got divorced, I realized that marrying from the place of need is not healthy for me or for the other person. And so where I resided instead is like, I want to marry someone. No, how about this? I need to marry someone that I want to marry.
Yeah.
I need to marry someone that I want to marry, where I feel like I cannot be without that person, because I was so content with my single life that it's like, if you're going to come and disrupt this atmosphere, you got to upgrade it in the process of disruption.
Upgrade my atmosphere.
Which has helped me in marriage and in making decisions, because even when I have business opportunities, like when I have, different partnerships and I'm raising the children, like it's helping me to really identify the beauty of really being able to select deals and partnerships that are based on something that I need to do because I want to do them. I wish I could explain this the way that I feel it, but I'll give you an example. So there's this business opportunity that they don't usually offer to women at all. And they offered me the opportunity to do it. And I want to do it. And I feel like I need to do it because it will have legacy in the earth. But then there was this other speaking engagement that came through. And, it was something that would have been very helpful for the brand and for my family, but it was also going to cost, and that it was going to take away from what we've been working on here at home. And so it felt like something that like I didn't have to do it. Like, I think it helps me to better judge what I have to do, what I need to do, and what I want to do, because I created that basis for me at home. Now, that probably didn't make no sense to anybody, but it just
to me.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
I just, having that helps me to trust my decision making. That's what it is. Y'all need to know something about me. All right, Woman Thou Art Loose. Like, I process in my own head and then I speak. I don't process out loud. So it takes me a minute to get to my point. But here is my point. Like, I know better what I need and what I want, because I got to practice in single life what I needed and what I wanted and what I was willing to sacrifice for. So now, as a married woman, I feel like I have those boundaries better. Whatever.
I hear you. I hear you wholeheartedly, because it was what you learned single after marriage that helped me with going into my single before marriage. One of the things, and I use this in marriage counseling, I use this in premarital counseling. One of the things you asked me was, if he never changes from who he is right now, would you still want to marry him?
Yeah.
Not need, because there was a need there in wanting to have a baby and, get under God's umbrella as we tried fertility treatments. But so there was that need, but you made me focus on the want versus the need. Like, okay, so you need this, but if he never changes, would you still want to spend the rest of your life with him? And I really had to think about that, because we tend to marry from potential. We tend to marry from what we hope, what we think, what we see could happen, instead of what is. And so I had to really consider what is. And of course, I married him because I wanted to, and had a need to as well. But I totally hear where you're coming from, again, from that perspective of just knowing what you want versus the need. Because you'll need relationships along the way, but will you want them is a completely different bear to approach.
One of the very first disconnect moments that PT and I had when we got married was on the 4th of July. I'm pretty sure it was the 4th of July, which means that we had been married and I was pregnant It's gotta have been the 4th of July. So we got married in November. That 4th of July, my very first summer in LA. We watched fireworks from the rooftop, and PT went out and went to the movies or something. And then he came home and we just had a disconnect. You know how you're not fussing, you're not arguing, but like we not feeling each other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what's up with you? Like, what is going on? What is happening here? And he was like, he sits down and he looks me in my eyes and I'm looking at him. Cause now I'm like scared. Cause like when you've gone through divorce, you've moved your family like halfway across the country to be with someone. Like you're not allowed to be disconnected. You got to be connected you don't get to go on low power mode. You need to be fully charged 24/7. And so I'm like, what's up? What's your problem? I need to book tickets to DFW. Like what's going on here? You tell me what's going on here. Anyways, finally I finished up in my neck. He looks at me and he was like, I need you. I need you. And like, I was like, I mean, I need you too. Like, but we were so shocked because we were so caught up in wanting one another that we were caught by surprise when want turned into need. Where like, I need to spend the rest of my life with you. I need for our lives to be so mixed in that I can't tell the end from the beginning. I need that. And we've been living in the want and need ever since. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the things I think about a lot though, as a woman who is building, growing, evolving, and changing is like honestly trying to not compare my life with other people. And that can be challenging. And I compare my life to unrealistic people. Like, can I be honest? Like, I'd be
Go ahead.
Like Oprah, like how did you get that deal and I didn't? Like Beyonce, why would Tiffany call you and not call me? Like, like I be seeing six packs and I'm like
inappropriate.
No, like I haven't worked that hard. I haven't put in that much time. I don't have the same gifts and the same talents, but I be sitting up there eating my Shake Shack, looking at someone's 6-pack, like, God, why you didn't give me a 6-pack? Like people who eat whatever they want to, and then they be like, oh my gosh, I can't gain a pound to save my life. And I'm like, God, why would you have me gaining all of the weight? You missed you. Yes, the comparison game, it's a trap. And I feel like we all fall into it. But I will say this, 2021 has made me really become more intentional about being just content with my life. Because you know what it has done? And what you're going to do is stop looking at the phone while I'm talking in the name of Jesus. I did not get on the Woman That Are Loose blog for you to be responding to somebody about their weight loss. Because I know you're coaching. Who you coaching? Not another water check-in. Put your whole phone down.
It's down.
Woman That Are Loose, you about to see Pastor Cora get checked.
Yeah, you're about to see a real sister conversation here. It's happening.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Cora, comparison. Because you're not giving me 100%.
I'm here.
Okay. Listen. No, for real. No, this year has taught me to not compare myself as much because COVID, sitting at the house, emotional distress, mental distress, financial disruptions. Like, okay, you gained 20 pounds, but guess what? You had 20 pounds to gain because you had air in your lungs. Like, okay. All right. The kids may not be on the right math level right now, but guess what? They in this house, you know where they are. No, it has put in perspective so much for me. How do you avoid comparison?
Oh, man. I consider that what I'm comparing is just a portion of what I see. A lot of times we compare based off of Instagram and websites and tweets and networks that are, what they want you to see. Nobody posts what they don't want you to see. And so you don't get the struggle, you don't get the pain. When I wrote my book, what we call them, proud plugs. Okay. Faith in it. When I wrote Faith in It, I wrote about that, how I struggled with comparing my life with other women who would get pregnant and I wasn't. And one of the things that God had told me even in that time was, if you are going to take their promise, you have to take their process. And so it helped me to kind of stop comparing, because I realized that I didn't want their full story. I wanted the Instagram post. I wanted the tweet. I wanted the net worth. I didn't want the hard work. I didn't want the sleepless nights. I didn't want the loneliness that comes with that. Sometimes we just do not take into account that, yes, you can compare, but you can't have their promise without their process. You can't go into the bookstore, grab the book that you like, and only take the chapters that you enjoy. You have to buy the whole book. So if you're going to compare, don't compare just from the chapters you see. You have to consider the whole book. So that's what kind of stopped me, because I realized behind the door, it's probably a lot more raggedy than what you are seeing in the front door. You take the great pictures, you do the great videos, you do the smiles, you do the encouragements, you do the magazine covers and all of the things. But what happens behind the door, we have to take too. And I don't know what's behind the door, so I don't want it.
Okay, so you know me, I have to be like devil's advocate.
The devil's advocate.
Yes. I'm coming. Come on. Okay, because I kind of take issue with that philosophy a bit, because I think it trains us to be skeptical of people's lives. And I think that when we are skeptical of people's lives, that it makes us ineffective in our own moments of triumph. Gosh, I wish I could say this the way that I feel it. But what if, just hypothetically speaking, what if we really needed to come to a place where we could say everything that I see on that person's page can be completely true, and it can be in direct contrast to where I am in my life, and yet I can still find a way to say, it's okay that it's not my time for that. Maybe they do have the baby, and maybe they almost died having the baby, but they do have the baby. And maybe if I'm comparing that they have the baby, some people will take it. I will take all of those things in order to have the baby, to have the marriage, to have the business. I don't mind being broke. I don't mind being lonely if that is the promise at the end. Some people are in a space where they're like, I will take the process if that is the promise. Mm-hmm. But I think a more powerful, and this is just me playing devil's advocate, I think there is something to saying all of that can be true for them. What I see on their page can be that good. Their marriage could be that great. The business could be thriving that well. And yet my contentment is not in that I suspect that everything ain't greener on that side, but rather my contentment is in the fact that I trust God, and that it's not my timing, or that's not my path. I don't want my contentment to come from believing that someone else's life is falling apart in a way that I can't see. I feel like that's a little unhealthy for me.
That's not what I'm saying.
Well, not falling apart, because I heard you just tougher, it's more challenging or difficult.
Any of it. Mm-hmm. Whatever their story, you can't take the good parts without the bad is what I'm saying. We can compare because all we see is the good. That's all that we see. And it could be everybody's life got trouble though, is what I'm saying. You can't have their triumphs and completely avoid the fact that they went through trouble to get to the triumph.
I just feel like I hear what you're saying, and maybe it's the way that I'm expressing it, but I feel like contentment based on, I just, and you
It's
know
like
me.
a full picture. For me, it's you got to take the whole picture. You
But I'm
can't
saying, like,
just
what does
take.
it say to someone who's like, I will take the whole picture? Like, I will take the whole picture because I want it that bad, and yet I still don't have it. So then
Well, that's
contentment.
that raggedy living. I can't help you
That's
with
not
that.
raggedy living.
Yeah.
There are people who are like, I will take the full pit. Like, okay, so somebody wants my life, and they're like, listen, in order to have that ministry, to have that family, I would have got pregnant at 14. I would have done that. I would have gone through a divorce. I would have waitressed at this strip club. Heck, I went through most of those things, and I still don't have the landing that she has. So, like, instead of being like, I have to take the full picture in order to get the promise, maybe contentment is really saying, like, it's just not my time. That's not my path. That's not my destination. And I can be celebratory for her and content with where I am while I still discover what is connected to me. I feel like to avoid comparison, not like how do I process comparison, but avoiding it altogether is to give people room to have their unique journey with God, their unique path, while still being comfortable that I am being spirit led in my own life and doing the work to make sure that I'm spirit led, and just being content with like where I am right now based off of what I've gone through. It may not be the plan that I had in mind. It may not be the dream that I had in mind, but I know that God has my coordinates. And if God has my coordinates, then my contentment is that I am seen in the eyes of God, that I am positioned for whatever I need to do in this season of my life. And I trust that because I am connected to God, that's the only thing that matters. And I've got to stay focused on my life, because anytime I start looking over at someone else's life, I find myself longing for their promise and process instead of finding the beauty in where I am now.
Well, absolutely. But that would be the continuation of what I'm saying. That's why.
But that ain't what you said.
But that's why we work so well together, because
Yeah,
it
you're
is
right.
the continuation of what I'm saying. You can't just take their happy and avoid the process and the work that they went through to get there. And since you can't have their work and their process, you might as well live your best life, because trying to compare is not going to be beneficial to you, because you can't just have what you're seeing. You've got to take the whole process. And if you are saying, I want that process, if you want that process, why not just do your own? Like, be in your own process, walk your
Because
own
my process is not producing those results.
And it's possible that you go through their process and it still don't produce the same results.
Yikes.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can't just take the good parts and not consider the hell that they went through to
I
get
can do
there.
all things through Christ who strengthens me. I can just take the good parts.
You can't. You
I can.
cannot.
I
You
can do all
can't
things
just
through.
take,
I can.
you can't. You can't
I
just
can do
take
all
the
things
good
through.
parts. You got
I
to
only
take.
want the good parts. Heavenly Father, if you're listening, only give. Heavenly Father, you're there. I know you're listening. God, stop sending us the raggedy and just send us the good. We would just like the righteous. We're not trying to get on the cross. We don't want to be those kinds of Christians. Make
You
us
got
different
to
Christians.
suffer the rain. You got to suffer the rain.
We don't want to suffer. We tired, boss. We tired, master. We
Tired
tired of
suffering.
suffering.
Tired of the suffering.
I love
But
this.
no,
I love chatting with you.
That is the reality. That's the reality. If you're gonna wish for their process, you might as well walk your own, because you could end up doing all of the things that they did and still end up being nothing. So you might as well be who you are.
Yourself would not be nothing, because you have worth and value outside of what you do and what you accomplish. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So you might as well be who you are, because you're a better version of yourself than trying to be somebody else and do what somebody else did. You're going to end up being nothing. When you're trying to be somebody else, you don't get to be yourself.
So you end up a zero.
You end up a zero, not a
Don't
hero.
be a zero when you can be a hero.
That's all I'm saying. Take your own process, your own journey, so that you can get to that point of, I'm content with it's not my time and it's not my season. So I need to prepare myself for when it is going to come.
The only thing I'm going to say, and then I'm going to shut up because I got to go and you got to go. This is the last thing I'm going to say. The only thing that I would add to that is I think contentment, powerful contentment, sacrificial killing of the flesh contentment comes from not just it's not my time yet, but I'm okay if it is not my time at all.
That is not contentment. That's acceptance.
And
do
you need, okay, this is getting good to me. Okay, listen, can you have contentment without acceptance? Is contentment real contentment if it doesn't have acceptance mixed in?
Probably not.
Yeah, I think contentment has to have acceptance. Like I have legitimately come to a place where I'm okay if that doesn't happen because I believe in the work that I have to do here. Exactly. And I can still find peace here, and I can still find joy here, and I can still find worth and value in here. I think that is the ultimate contentment.
That's like your chicken, which comes first, the chicken or the egg? Which comes first, contentment or acceptance? And I think you can't have one without the other. I think that you get to contentment quicker than acceptance. And I think contentment is my calmness in what I'm about to accept.
I think that you can't have contentment that has a contingency connected to it.
Oh,
I'll be content as long as this is temporary. I'll be content as long as I get that job. I'll get content as long as these tears turn into purpose. But there are some tears that leave stains on your cheek, and you may never know on this side of heaven why it had to happen. But I've come to a place where I can accept that it happened and that it happening is not the end, that I am still here and that there is still work for me to do. There's still life for me to experience and life for me to give. And so I accept that this is what contentment looks for me based off of what I've gone through. And I don't want to borrow someone else's contentment or be jealous of someone else's contentment. Instead, I want to find a way to be steady in my ship, with my boat, with my seas that are raging, because I know who's on board with me.
Facts, absolute facts. That's faith, contentment, and acceptance all wrapped up in there. And you have to have all three in order to land into a place of accepting what God allows. You have to be willing to get to a calmness. Like I said, it's that calmness for what I'm about to accept. I'm calm about what I'm about to accept, and I'm okay with what God is doing.
So I guess to answer the question, can women really have it all? I think if that is the definition of how we define all, contentment, acceptance, and faith, then women can have it all, no matter what stage of life you're in, no matter what promises have yet to be revealed or what purpose you're waiting to collide with. Having it all begins with acceptance and contentment and faith. And from the place of worship and gratitude, that God, thank you for sending a word for me, a vlog that I wasn't even expecting. Thank you for putting air in my lungs, for allowing me to still be hungry. There are some people who aren't hungry from a touch from God. Thank you, God, for still being able to touch me and see me and to lead me into what I need for this day, not what I need years down the road, but God, what I need for this day. We love you. Thank you so much for spending time with us. It was great. This is getting me ready for like Girl Talk 2022.
Oh yeah. Girl Talk is going to knock them out. I'm so excited. I'm excited. This was a good chat.
Love you guys.
Love y'all.